Hello and welcome to Learning to Draw with Louise. Thank you for joining me today. I'm going to be demonstrating how to draw a Native American Indian chief, and for today's demonstration I'll be drawing Red Cloud. Now when you're working with charcoal on paper, drawing a portrait, a head, figurative work, best thing to do is to start off by drawing the basic egg shape, and then from there we're going to be introducing the features. Now as you're drawing, you're going to be probably using one of three things. You're going to be drawing from a live model, drawing from your imagination, or drawing from a photographic reference as I'm doing today. So we start with a basic head shape and then we start to pop in the features, eyes, nose, mouth. Now these features are going to constantly, these marks that I'm making on this with the charcoal are going to constantly change and evolve as the drawing itself evolves. And the best thing to do when you're learning to draw is to just get on and do it. Just draw.
Don't be afraid to make mistakes when you're drawing. That's how you're going to learn. And the more mistakes you make, the more you're going to learn. The secret, of course, is trying not to make the same mistake twice. So as you map out the features, eyes, nose, mouth. I'm not bothering too much with ears in this study, simply because the headdress is going to cover the area, so we won't really see the ears anyway. So we've got the basic head shape down. We've placed the features in approximately the position where we think they're going to go, knowing that we're going to be progressing, the drawing's evolving, and we're going to be moving things millimeters to the left, to the right, up, down. It's going to constantly move around. Now we've positioned the head nicely there. It's got a nice feel to it. The drawing's coming along nicely. We've already established the subject matter, which is an aging Native American Indian man. I think that's clear to see. In terms of creating the likeness, that's going to come from the positioning of each shape, of each feature, and the relation to each feature. The distance between the eyes, the outer nostrils, down to the mouth. But this does take practice, but the best way to learn how to draw successfully is to practice as much as you can, measuring these features by looking at them and training the brain in terms of measurements. Or for beginners, you can start off measuring the physical space with a ruler and then applying that into the drawing. I don't recommend tracing at all. Tracing an image, is not drawing an image. And there is a big difference between tracing and colouring in and learning the art, the technical skill of drawing. The only way to become good at drawing is to practice at drawing. So as we're coming in here, shading the side of the face, we're starting to bring in some three-dimensional form to the character now. This drawing in particular is never meant to be a finished drawing within its own, in that I'm going to be framing it and that this is the artwork. This is a charcoal study. It's in preparation for me doing an oil painting of Red Cloud. And so it's not going to be refined as much as you would if you were concentrating on drawing and that being the finished article. This is kind of a rough and ready kind of sketch, trying to capture the real character of the subject. In this case, it's Red Cloud. But I'm trying to capture Red Cloud's courage, his bravery, the essence of the man. And that's really what we're trying to do when we're doing portraiture. I'm not looking to create a photographic representation of Red Cloud. I'm trying to bring forth Red Cloud's personality, what made him red cloud? Well, it was his courage, his warrior spirit, his dignity and bravery, and I'm trying to capture those characteristics within this drawing. That's the purpose of me doing this drawing, and that's what we're basically trying to achieve when we create a portrait of somebody. We're not just looking at, what's aesthetically pleasing. Okay, so we're just going to come a little bit more in, and you can see that it's a constant backwards and forwards, different areas all the time. I'm working out the pressure that I'm using on the charcoal is constantly changing. You can see now, as I'm coming back into the headdress, I'm applying more pressure to the charcoal to give us the lovely darks coming in there, as opposed to the lightness on the side of the face, which is still shading, but you can clearly see many shades in terms of tone difference, and that's just by different pressures that I'm applying to the charcoal. So you're just going to come in here, just indicate the feathers. We're not doing perfect feather representation, just giving some indication that these are feathers. I am a feather, there we are. Just going to drop them in there. Now what I'm also doing is I'm continuing this drawing, is I'm constantly looking to evenly distribute the lights and the darks. I'm also providing balance with every stroke that I'm doing. Now here we're just going to pop in some kind of different feathers. And then I'm going to come in here with just a nice soft brush, just to create a little bit more interest, just to really capture the softness of the feathers there coming around the face, as opposed to the kind of hardness of that kind of darks on the necks there. Now again, if this was your final drawing, you could spend quite some time with the brush, getting the skin nice and smooth, and a soft brush is really lovely to work with. Now let's come in here. We're just going to pop a jacket in here, just to give a little bit more balance to the drawing. Just a little bit of darks required at the bottom there. So we're just going to get that in. Provide a little bit of dark there. Just bring the face forward. We're coming in here with an eraser. I use a razor a lot when I'm using charcoal and drawing, and I'm not using it to get rid of mistakes. I'm using it to add something to the drawing, to add different effects. Just come back in there, clarify. Now come in a few more darks here required on the headdress now. Let's get a little bit of kind of more definition to the shapes here, creating this kind of three-dimensional form going around the top of the head. Just constantly, and don't worry, if you're a few centimeters out, millimeters rather, because you can just come right back in there and work it as you. Just a little bit more height, I think, on this darkness here. A couple of more mil required, I think. I think we'll come back in and just work that up. Just back down to the feather, a little bit of colour in there. Tone rather. Let's come back up now and just resolve this area a little bit more. Just needs to go up just a few mil. find a bit more balance with the headdress. Yeah, I'm just cleaning up. Don't forget the whiteness at the top of the section I'm working with now is just paper. You know, that's not chalk or anything else. And that's what we do in drawing, you know. We use the paper. You know, it's good drawing is a team effort. I'm flat out here doing all this work, you know. Let's bring in the the erasers. They can do a little bit of work. The paper, let's make it work, you know. So between, you know, the different pressures of charcoal, the texture of the paper, leaving the paper to come through to add its own element, using the negative, positive space. Get the brush in there, get the eraser in there, and it's a real, you know, team effort with all these materials. Okay, just really bringing that face forward now. You know, it's the relationship between light and dark all the time. That's in essence what drawing's about. Light against dark, dark against light. Constant basis. That's how we move things around. That's how we send things to the back, and things to the front. Just define this mouth just a little bit more there. Okay. Just a little bit more on these eyes. Coming in there. I'll lift that cheekbone up a little bit. You know, the Native American Indian culture has just the most beautiful cheekbones. You know what I mean? The facial features and the prominence of the cheekbones, the flatness of the nose, all these things, you know, also vary with the different tribal groups within the Native American Indian community. As Red Cloud is part of the Oglala Lakota, then the high cheekbones are indicative and something I really want to work on. Now let's just go back to the eyes. Now just creating, you know, is this great man as a warrior? We can just, you know, kind of pop in a few kind of war wounds here and there, give him a little bit of, you know, authenticity. Gonna come back here. Oh, okay, so now just using this paper just to cover up the initial drawing at the bottom while we kind of work with the top areas a little bit. Obviously this is to protect the work that we've done. Now drawing with charcoal is one of the best ways to draw. In particular what I'm using here is willow charcoal. It's beautiful soft charcoal, very forgiving. It's a wonderful medium to work with, and I encourage anybody that wants to learn drawing to utilize charcoal. It's really wonderful. What I mean by so forgiving is, you know, it's just so easy to just kind of move things around within the piece, and it doesn't, you know, if you're applying correct pressure, you know, you're not leaving marks that can't be got rid of quite easily with just, you know, a kind of. Okay, so we're just coming back in there, just a little bit more shade down this side, just refining the chin just a little bit, a few more war wounds there, add a little bit more character. Now, of course, another option to use tape, the paper to protect the work. You do have an option to use spray on the work as you go, which will fix the charcoal in place. Hence, it won't move or get in contact with your hands as much. But once you've applied that fixative spray, you have to be aware that that charcoal is now fixed. You're unable to move it. So I really only use sprays towards right at the end of a work. Spray can alter the overall coloration of a work as well. So you always want to be mindful of that when you're working with them. So we're just going to come and just refine this cheekbone just a little bit there. Okay, and I've just caught that left side there, I think, with the paper. A little bit of smudging there. That's okay. It all adds to the character. Oh, now this is coming really lovely now. Just got to come in and just resolve that nose a little bit more, which we'll get to that. Just building up the form. It's a play with light and dark, manipulating the eye backwards and forwards. Okay, so that, that's just lovely. We've really, I think, captured the essence of Red Cloud in terms of the facial features. And like I state, this is a study, and the purpose of this study is to learn where are his features, and so that when I'm coming back in and doing the oil painting, which I'll be using an underpainting, I'll have some indication of the distances between these facial features. And that's why you can do one study or 3 or 4 studies. It always helps, not only in terms of placement of features, but in terms of tone, in terms of where are you putting your lights and your darks. If you can establish these things in the drawing stage, if you are moving on to a painting, it's so much easier. Okay, now let's come in, refine this nose just a little bit more. Just looking a little bit pointed there. I'm just going to have to take a little bit of that darkness off there. Just maybe come in with a little bit more dark. Just looks slightly pointed there. But again, you can come back to it, working with the relationships of all the features all the time. It really is a constant in drawing. And I find, that's the best best part about it is you're just constantly learning. And doesn't matter how long you've been drawing. You know, I've been drawing for many years and I'm constantly still learning. You know, I love that aspect to drawing. It's such an organic medium. And the charcoal, like I say, is so forgiving. It's a really lovely medium to work with. I mean, I started off, you know, with the foil wrapped around the charcoal just to protect my fingers, but I like to get messy, you know. Okay, so we're coming in here, we're just getting rid of those sharp edges on those feathers. You know, we come in there with a lot of haste, a lot of speed, probably too much pressure initially, but that's okay. But you notice I'm not erasing those marks. I'm merely just lifting the top layer of charcoal off to go back in again. And can you see how the first layer of charcoal is settled? I'm applying more layers. And with each layer, more darkness comes with that. You know, you can just build and build and build. This charcoal is also affected by the paper that you use. This is just a very basic butcher's paper, if you like, very standard for drawing charcoal paper, just for study purposes. But had this been better quality paper, then it would have more what we call tooth on it, and therefore it would be holding the charcoal a lot more than what this paper does. But, you know, you don't need to be concerned with the technicalities, different papers, and particularly if you're a beginner. Now let's just come in here with the side of the charcoal. You see how I'm using that now? Just coming in with the side. Now the advantage to that is that all I'm doing is directing placement, but the side of the charcoal gives a lot more of an organic feel to it because I'm not being so directional with my placement of it, of the mark itself. And again, you see, just coming in there, just taking off a little bit of charcoal just to expose some whites, coming in now with a more firmer. Again, we're doing the same thing here. We're not getting rid of mistakes. We're using the eraser to add to the drawing. Let's let it do a little bit of work. Now we've got a little bit of charcoal, which give us a few darker tones than the actual willow. Okay, so I think we've captured what we needed to in this drawing. I think we're pretty much going to leave it there. I might just come in just with that feather again, do a little bit of refinement there. But I've done what I needed to do here. I think I've captured the essence of Red Cloud, the character. And I can see the bravery and the courage and the dignity in this man. And there he is, a true warrior. And it's wonderful just to be able to draw. Just come in here, we'll just resolve these feathers just a little bit more. Again, we're not going for realism, we're just going for character. And we're going to refine these with the drawing, but I'm going to come back in to the bottom feather with the eraser. And I'm going to show you how you can use a razor more as a tool. To define the shape of the feathers. Okay. So we're creating another feather here using the eraser. And I'm just going to come right in here. A little bit more pressure applied. Just take out some of that charcoal. Now we're just coming back in with the charcoal, refining the shape. There we go. We have a feather. There we go. Thank you for watching today. And if you found value in my content, please subscribe, like and share should you wish. And we'll see you in the next video.